I'll do English followed by Spanish, and then I'll answer any questions. Okay. Everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ed Gonzalez, Harris County Sheriff, joined here by Major Earl Dean. This evening at approximately 6:30 p.m., Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to the location regarding a possible disturbance. Upon making entry, they discovered two adult persons deceased in a rear bedroom, a male and a female. We believe both were married. At this point, just from preliminary observations, it appears to be a murder-suicide. I always like to preface it by saying it's preliminary because obviously once we had a chance to interview everyone and could get into the investigation, we do have our crime scene investigators as well as our homicide investigators, and obviously things could always change if we learn something differently. But from just a cursory view at this point, it does appear to be a murder-suicide. It appears that the male party shot the female and then turned the gun on himself. There is a gun that's at the location next to the body, and that's the information that we have right now. There was a call earlier in the evening, maybe over the last 2 hours is when all this kind of started transpiring. There was an initial disturbance call. Our deputies came out to the location but received no answer. Apparently, the couple resided here with an adult daughter, I believe 20 years of age, but when they arrived, she was gone. Deputies looked around. There were no vehicles, no sounds of any disturbance or anything happening. Attempted to call, didn't receive an answer, and so eventually, upon checking the location, they ended up leaving. Later on is when they, again, we received calls again. This time, I believe the daughter had returned and stated that she had heard some gunshots, and then also received a call from a second daughter that does not live at this location, basically a third-party call, just stating that I believe that the parents were having a disturbance, possibly over some infidelity, and things were obviously there was a disturbance, and law enforcement needed to come out to the location. And when we arrived again, that's when we found them. So very tragic situation. Our condolences go out to the family that's gathered here. They're obviously saddened by the situation. From what we could see, there is no other previous calls for service at this location. I think there was one in the past, but nothing related to any kind of disturbance, but just one since 2019. So there really doesn't appear to be a history of any disturbances or anything at this location. So very tragic. Always speak about these situations. We tend to see quite a few murder-suicides unrelated to this. I've been noticing that we seem to have a high number of suicides that are occurring as well. And so just very, very sad situation for everyone. Domestic violence is something that's just scourge on our communities, and it's a pandemic, a national pandemic in my mind, and there are resources out there, and it's just always ask for folks to seek assistance from family members. We're one of the number of great organizations that we have here in the community, like the Houston Area Women's Center. Over my career, I've responded to many murder-suicides, and always very tragic, and really leaves a mark on the community and the neighbors. There was some neighbors were celebrating some type of birthday party tonight, and this transpired, so they're caught in the middle of all this as well. Brevemente, esta noche recibimos una llamada sobre un incidente. Parece que había un tipo de conflicto entre un marido y mujer. Al llegar los oficiales encontraron la pareja, los dos muertos aquí en la escena, dentro de la casa. Parece ser que el hombre, el esposo, le dio balazos a su esposa. Ella murió allí en la escena, y parece que él entonces se suicidó aquí en la escena. Encontramos la arma en un lado. Va a ser una investigación extensa, pero por este momento parece ser que que parece ser que esos fueron los hechos, que él mató a la esposa y se suicidó él. La hija de 20 años estaba aquí anteriormente y salió de la casa porque los papás estaban peleando. Nos dicen, parece que tal vez era porque uno de ellos parece que se dio cuenta de que la otra pareja estaba siendo infiel. No sabemos eso, no lo hemos comprobado, pero parece que de eso se trató. Y va a ser una investigación muy extensa. Entonces, lo sentimos mucho, la pérdida para las familias, y Nuestras oraciones están con las familias y todos impactados por esta pérdida. Le pedimos a todos que tengan en una situación de violencia familiar o si hay antecedentes, por favor, que soliciten ayuda. Es algo que puede pasar en cualquier casa, en cualquier hogar, y lo vemos muy seguido en nuestra comunidad. Any questions?
How long was it between the time that someone called 911 about the disturbance and then deputies arrived, no one was here, and then the disturbance about the gunshots? What was that time frame like?
I think it all transpired within about a 2-hour block total. I think the initial call for service was approximately close to 5 o'clock. The first one I think was around 4:47, more or less. I'm just estimating, just because there was a lot of information that came my way, but I believe it was close to 5 p.m. And then the other sequence of calls, they came out, stayed here for a bit. It's my understanding from what was conveyed to me that they knocked, they went around, checked the perimeter, they tried calling back the number, there was no answer. Apparently the daughter, the adult daughter that was here that had initially called had left the location. We don't know where she went. My understanding that she may have reported some type of disturbance. It was kind of vague. It wasn't very detailed as far as I know. And deputies weren't able to, didn't hear. They knocked on the door, they heard dogs, but no one, I don't know if they were ignoring deputies or just went silent. We don't know what happened. We don't believe that anything had transpired at that point, because it was until the other sequence of calls that we received later on at the almost the 6:30 mark. That's when the report was heard that a shot was heard, I think by one of the daughters, and then they called in, and then when we arrived again, entry was made into the home, and that's when the discovery was made.
And who else was inside the home at the time of the shooting?
It's my understanding that, I don't know if the daughter was inside the home at the time of the actual shooting, or that she just heard it because she may have been outside the home, but the daughter had been at home. We don't know if she was physically inside the home at the time, because like I said, when deputies first arrived the first time, I was told that the daughter wasn't there, she had left. So I don't know if she returned back and was in there when the disturbance continued later on, or if she was outside somewhere and just heard shots. But they reside with their daughter, or the daughter resides with the parent.
Okay. And did any neighbors hear any yelling or gunshots fired?
That's what they're gathering right now. We didn't get that far. The investigators and crime scene investigators are just now beginning the initial scene investigation.
How much longer do you anticipate that they'll be out here?
They'll be out here for a couple hours. They're just in the early stages right now. They're tending to family and processing the scene and documenting the scene. So it'll be a couple hours before the scene is cleared. So I'm guessing about at least 2-3 hours.
Just to confirm, did the daughter make the calls?
It's my understanding that the daughter that was here residing with them made calls, and then or made a call, as well as the other daughter that doesn't reside here, that had heard from her younger sibling about what was transpiring out here, also made a call as a third party, just passing on what she had heard from her sister.